And people complain today that we're too violent and see violent stuff. Oh dear. Hi and welcome to a new series on my channel where I'm gonna go through the worst execution methods through history in no particular order, but I'm gonna go through 5 of them in every part. So let's start with part 1. I'm gonna start this video off though, since it's the first one, with a kind of execution that I think is very concentrated in Sweden. Let me know down below if that's not the case. But during the Middle Ages, it was actually a very common execution method, but only for women, that was called kvick I jord, which translates into fast into earth, basically. So this was an execution method that was strictly for women who had been caught stealing. And it basically meant that they were buried alive. If men were caught doing the same thing, they would be hanged or have their upper part removed. But now that we've gone through that fun Swedish trivia, we're going to number 1, and that is boiling to death. Boiling to death was used for different reasons in different parts of the world. In some parts, boiling to death was a means to not shed royal blood. There was this dude who boiled 70 aristocrats just so that their blood wouldn't be spilled, but he still wanted to execute them, for example. It was commonly used in England too. We have papers that in 1537 it was reserved for poisoners. The way they would do this would either to just dump them into boiling oil or water, sometimes even like dunk them up and down a few times. Sometimes the water wasn't even hot and they were like dunked up and down while the water slowly got hotter, just to make everything as worse as possible. And then we have number 2, gibbeting. Gibbeting was like a structure that was formed as a human in iron, steel, and such things, and it could hang up on a big wooden pillar, and then you put the dying prisoner into the structure and just let them pass, stuck in there. These structures were usually built close to roads or like where ships would pass to deter people from doing bad things, of course. And they would usually be kept in place there even after the passing, just to make everything even more gross. I actually read a story in some Swedish history book, I don't remember which one it was, but some Swedish guy was gibbeted in town, pretty central in whatever town it was, and his friends made kind of a joke of it, that they would like climb up there and put a pipe in his mouth or give him some whiskey to drink, and yeah, they just kept him in their friend group as long as possible, even after the very brutal cancellation. And now we move to the Vikings in Scandinavia. And we have number 3, the Blood Eagle. Well, the Vikings were known to be kind of brutal. So this procedure was that a man was lying with his back up. They would take a sharp tool and cut his back open, and cutting his ribs from his spine and pulling them out. Then the lungs would be exposed and they would pull those out too, and thus creating a macabre set of wings. And if the person wasn't already cancelled, they would be pretty dang soon. And people complain today that we're too violent and see violent stuff. Oh dear. And then we come to number 4, which was hanged, drawn, and quartered. You were drawn by a horse to your execution spot. You were usually a traitor or something like that. And you were hanged to the point of almost cancellation, and then taken down and drawn. They drew out your innards, and then they quartered you, and put your little head on a stake so everyone could see and hopefully not do what you did. They needed their fun back then, didn't they? And then we come to the last one, number 5. Impalement. Okay, there's many ways to be impaled, but this one is the one that that Transylvanian count did. The vertical impalement. Yeah, which meant that you had a large, big stake, which was pointy and sometimes even a bit lubricated at the pointy top. You would then put this into a fitting placement, an opening, which you could find in both men and females. And when they had pushed it in a little bit, not too much, just so that you were kind of stuck, they took the pole and put it up so that gravity would do its work. This could take days. It is said that the count that we just talked about would sit and watch like a forest of impaled people and just have his little tea or whatever and enjoy. It's just crazy business, all of that, yeah. And just as with gibbeting, they were usually left up for a very long time, even after subscription cancellation, as we say here on this channel, to deter other maybe criminals from doing something, because you sure as heck wouldn't want to end up there. Hi, thanks for watching, and if you enjoy morbid history and stuff like that, just hit the subscribe and the notification bell so you won't miss my next update. So yeah, I have more icebergs coming up, more folklore, more true crime, and yeah, more of this series too. So stay tuned and I'll see you next time. Giant thanks to all my lovely patrons, and check down below for ways to support my channel. Thanks!